I'm Randy and I'm going to show you how to do minor repairs to your warm rain bathtub modules. Firstly will be small scratches and nicks. Secondly will be small chips, and thirdly we're going to do large chips. What you first do is you sand the area with 400 grit to take out the small scratch or scuff that you have. Secondly, you sand that same area a little bit larger with 1000 grit. And then lastly, you take an electric buffer with automotive buffing compound and you buff the area back to a shine. First, take a Dremel with a stone bit on it and gouge out the area a little bit bigger. Secondly, rough up the area that is gouged with 400 grit sandpaper. Mix 1 ounce of gel coat and 10 drops of clear catalyst, and then take that mixing stick, break it in half, and dab the gel coat into the hole about 1/8 of an inch or bigger than the hole, because what happens when gel coat cures, there's styrene in there, usually about 30%, so that's going to want to shrink on you. So that's going to hold on to the area that the small gouge or chip that you're repairing. Now when that cures, it takes about an hour, it has to be over 60 degrees. Then you take a rubber sanding block and you put 400 grit sandpaper on the bottom of it, and then you wet sand it down until it's even with the surrounding surface. And then you take 1000 grit sandpaper and you put it on that sanding block, and then you sand that down to get the 400 grit scratches out in a little bit bigger area. And then you take an electric buffer and you buff out the 1000 grit scratches back to the shine of the shower. You bevel out the damaged area, and then you rough it up with 400 grit dry sandpaper, 2 inches bigger than the area that you just beveled out to remove all the air voids, and then you clean it with acetone. And then you mix usually about 1 ounce of Duraglass with the hardener, depending how big the area is, and you fill it in with a spreader that you can buy at an auto supply store, and you let it cure for approximately 20 minutes. Take 80 grit sandpaper, sand this down back to where it was. And then you mix 1 ounce of gel coat with 12 drops of clear catalyst, and you thin it out with acetone, and 10 being gel coat and 1 being acetone, so you can spray it with a pre-valve. You have to let that cure for approximately 1 hour at room temperature. You wet sand it with 400 grit sandpaper, followed by 1000 grit sandpaper, and then you buff it back to the shine of the original unit with automotive buffing compound.